This is the best of VOCM Open Line with Brian Callahan.
Let's go to line number 1. And Mayor of Fogo Island, Andrew Shea, you're on the air.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for making time for the program. I guess first and foremost, how's the ferry service going there now after what can only be described, I guess, as a perfect storm of problems all at once last week, sorry.
Yeah, it's going pretty good. We got 2 ferries on, but they're working good, helping out each other and clearing it up pretty good. Also, the third one is there on standby until at least the festival is over and, to clear it up. So it's pretty good.
Yeah, because this really happened in the midst of it was just really bad timing, was it not? And there was a mechanical issue, I believe, with the veteran, I think, mechanical issue. And I see where the Minister for Transportation got involved, to his credit, quickly and was communicating, although, ironically, he admitted, I think he said, communication wasn't the best on this.
No, it wasn't good at all. In fact, our MHA, I could get hold of our MHA, but the people working in the department, I called all the different people I could call and never got a call back.
The mayor of you couldn't even get a call back. So for all those out there who say they can't get a call back, not even the mayors of communities when it comes to critical transportation links with the island, with the mainland of Newfoundland. Yeah,
but the minister was good and the MHA was good. So we have to look at the departments, I think, and put some pressure on there that, they do what they're supposed to be doing and everybody else is contacted to know what's going on.
Yeah.
Sorry,
go ahead.
You're in the lineup. It's 3 hours to cross, so if you're in the lineup waiting and no one is updating it for 10 hours, so you're there just waiting, you don't know what's going on, you don't know anything, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Just to know what's happening, even if it's not good. It's just important, just having that, so at least there's no questions about what's going on. And again, as I understand it, it's been a pretty good summer overall for transportation to and from, given, as you said, the festival and the other events you've had going on. But this is not a new situation, though. I mean, when I heard the minister talking about, the possibility of a helicopter or, they're going to look into those sorts of things, this is not new. I mean, the issues and the potential for major disruptions with transportation back and forth. So it almost sounded like somebody had an epiphany about helicopters and planes, but there is a landing strip on Fogo Island, is there not?
Yeah, within a half a kilometre of the hospital, there's a landing strip. Plane can land or a helicopter. Yeah. But the problem seems to be that when you go look for helicopters, they're unavailable because we've tried and tried and tried, and lots of times it's just in the older days, back when we, earlier, 10, 15 years ago, a helicopter, they put in the old hospital in Fogo, they put a helicopter pad there and she'd come out regular. But that don't happen anymore. You got to call in and your hours waiting to make a decision, and finally you'll end up going on the ferry because you got nothing available. So you can't have a helicopter service by saying we're going to have one. You got to have something on standby. You got to have something there.
Yeah, and something that can carry a few people. You're not going one-offs, so It can't be just a little private thing, yeah.
And not only that, helicopters, they're good, but you need a proper helicopter for it because most of them can't fly in fog and a bit of bad weather because they haven't got the ability to fly by sight. So we need something that, foggy weather and things like that because, you can't pick your time when an emergency is going to happen.
No, that's the downside of emergencies, isn't it? Let alone what it does for people and how it affects people. Yeah.
But I must say, that since we had this, the minister got involved, they updated the tape pretty regular, like when they started the service because, this 6-hour rest, right? And another thing, I know they can't do it for some reason because of I guess it's because of union services and that, but there's a boat tied up with a crew. Why can't they take the crew from one boat and put it on the other boat?
That's
and they can sleep on that boat. The boat is with a full crew. Our other boat can't go because it's got no crew. But I don't think that's the government's fault because they can't do it. Maybe it's because of the union. I don't know what the reason is, but it don't make sense to the common person.
Well, there's the communication side. I've had a couple of emails asking Mayor that exact question. So maybe that's where the union can weigh in or even, there are people who operate those services. Transportation should have a grasp on what the options are, when push comes to shove like it did here. And I know that the minister has said he'll be following up and looking at a solution where I think he said new air options and protocols. Do you know what he means by that?
Yep. Not exactly, no. But I'm hoping they're going to have something on standby, like for this area, in Gander somewhere, say, But again, like we make our appointments in Gander. We're an aging population. We make all kinds of specialist appointments. And the ferry leaves 7 o'clock, and she gets in 8 o'clock, and we get to Gander at 9. So most people make their appointments from 10, to 3 or 4 o'clock in the evening. But if the ferry is an hour late, all those appointments are gone. You can't get to them. No way. And if the helicopter was out the other day, we would have been on the go. Like we wouldn't have had any interruption with the Beaumont. She'd been going in the morning, right?
How has the population grown or decreased over the years? What is the population of Fogo Island now, Mayor?
Pretty well the same. It's about close to 2,200, I think, and that's been fairly stable. And in the summertime, there's quite a lot more.
Yeah, and interesting visitors too, especially with the Fogo Island Inn, of course, and the tourism potential over there. I mean, has it, spiked, or as far as tourism goes, or is it only limited by the transportation to the island?
It does be limited a bit, because like that day it was off, so all the bed and breakfasts and facilities like that lost their booking. So that's a big effect, Fogo Island is blooming. We got the fishery has never been so good as it's been this year. Tourism is really good. Everything is on the move. We haven't got enough workers. You can come here and get a job at basically anything if you want to come to Fogo Island, because we're on the move. But our population is a problem. Like we bring in people from foreign countries. But we like to bring in people in families. If we could bring in young families to Fogo Island and put them to work and keep them there, that's what we need.
Yep. That makes
instead of coming, you got to go. We probably got 100 people working here on Fogo Island.
That makes eminent sense. I mean, get people to put down their roots and grow their family and stay and contribute to the community and the tourism aspect of it. I mean, it's just beautiful. But again, you would think, as you said, when the economy is working like that and the island's doing well, the government can usually find the resources, because that there's going to be some kind of return on investment, so to speak. If you give people a way to get there, and you've already proven that you can operate, as you said, on bust, whether it's the fishery or whether it's the tourism or whatever it is. But when people got to get off for an emergency or for medical issues, when it comes down to the essential services, you'd think it would equal the demand just to get back and forth. And this hasn't been figured out yet. We still have this back and forth between, say, whether it's a swing vessel for your service or back to Bell Island, and the aging ferries. That's another issue.
Oh, that's the issue, because we need another extra ferry that can pick up when one of them is off, right?
Yeah, I mean, the province has made commitments that way, especially talking about building them here in the island. So, yeah, I don't know where all that is lately, but it seems that they're completely preoccupied with Churchill Falls these days.
But with the 2 ferries we got on now, we can manage, if the veteran can't take them, the other one's coming probably 20 minutes behind to fix up the overflow. And then we got the little one here now for a festival and that, so there should be no problem with other people in Newfoundland and all over the world, basically. Come on, we got good service, And in June, the tourism industry this year in June was unbelievable. We've never seen so many tourists yet, and they were an older population that was coming, and they were, we were flooded with them.
Was that any particular event or group, or just happened to be that month?
I think that some people like to come before it gets real busy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And again, after the folk festival is open, we'll get another little rush of that. They just want to come here and just enjoy the place, as opposed to, do things like just to walk the trails and just to do different things, Were they, come from ways, or were they livyers? Like, are they from here, or doing staycations, or from away? Most of the people come from. I've never seen so many people from Quebec before. Oh. We had a number of people from Quebec and Ontario and that, but we had them from all over the world.
A lot. I mean, from the States still making the trip?
Oh yes, lots of people from the States. Yep. Lots.
Yeah, they're still our friends. They're still our friends.
Oh, yeah. We're doing really well. We got no complaints. People are coming to Fogo Island. They enjoy it. And it's a different type of tourism industry now. People basically don't want to go to museums, and they go once and that's it, But they want to go walk the hills. They want to walk and
off the beaten track.
different things. You want an experience.
Yep.
And Fogo Island is a good experience.
You got that right. Different, unlike any other, really, in so many different ways, right? And it's amazing what the international exposure can do. I don't need to tell you, the various travel magazines and tourism, business tourism. Yeah, no, absolutely, it gets great exposure, and rightly so. And a lot of that goes to the Fogo Cooperative and people like Zita Cobb and everyone with the inn. And if that was one way of it, but it's not just that. And I don't mean you're not just a one-trick pony. That's for sure.
No, but then working together pretty good too. That makes a big.
Yeah. So the Sound of Islay, you still have that at your disposal right now, do you?
Yeah, she made a few trips the second day because we had a lot of backup in that.
Okay.
She was there, and she's still tied up now. And according to what the minister said on VOCM, that they were going to keep her there for a while, so that's good.
Yep.
Because she only be somewhere else tied up, so just tie her up here to get through the festival. That's a good idea.
Well, that's great. So for now, it's status quo is good. You're back to a little bit of semblance of normality as opposed to what happened last week.
Yeah, I was on the ferry yesterday. She couldn't take it all. Our veteran couldn't take it all. The next one, the other one was just coming in, so it was a tremendous amount of traffic. Especially the 3 o'clock trip, there's a lot of traffic at certain hours of the day, like everywhere else, of course. You're busy at certain times. But we're doing really good. We're quite pleased. We got three boats there at our disposal now, so come on and visit us, especially for the festivals and everything else.
There you go. Well, look, no better place to leave it than that. Mayor of Fogo Island, Andrew Shea, thanks again for making time and providing this update. I'm glad to hear things are running smoothly now. And for tourists, leave a good impression, of course. Thanks again for this morning. Good luck with everything and the festival.
Thank you very much.
This is the best of VOCM Open Line.
Let's go to line number 2. And Debbie, you're on the air.
Hi, Brian. How are you?
I'm okay, thank you. How are you today?
Hey, good. First I wanted to start out with, I wish I was Dad's wife, because I'm a diabetic, and I was at the health science from 2 o'clock Saturday afternoon until, I think it was 4 o'clock Sunday. And I'm a diabetic. I'm 71. I'm a diabetic. And I asked her if they had a sandwich or an air biscuit and a glass of milk or anything. They had nothing. No, so I certainly never got a tray. So God love them.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not the point.
I understand.
Yeah, the point is, 7 o'clock Saturday morning, right, I went to the Waterford Hospital, 7 o'clock Saturday morning, and I waited to see a doctor. I'm having a mental health issue.
And you're referring to the new hospital, correct?
The new, I call it.
Okay, the new mental, what we're eventually going to call the Dr. Nazar Lada Mental Health Center for Mental Health and Addictions, my personal opinion. But go ahead, sorry.
Okay, so that was all right. I waited. Finally, I get to see a doctor, not a psychiatrist. I was the only one there, not a psychiatrist, a doctor. So I go in, they put me in the room, security puts you in the room to wait for the doctor. So by this time, I'm really tired. So I lie on the couch, glad to be able to lie down. The doctor came in, and he said, sit up. Sit up, he said. You're not lying down. I said, I'm really tired. And my doctor explained that I had cancer, I'm 71, blah, blah, blah. Sit up, I'm not talking to you. Okay, so I sat up. Then he spoke to me, and he said he would not let me see a psychiatrist. I said, I have to see a psychiatrist. No. So what did he do? He got to security to escort me out. So I left, and then I went to the health science. I said, I'll get help there. I went there. They sent me back down to the lot or whatever it is. They sent me back down there. So I go back down there. They won't see me. They security escorts me out again. So I end up, by this time, I have bad heart. This time I'm at 18 was a stroke, right? So by this time I'm not feeling good, so I have to go to health science emergency. I go to health science emergency, see the doctor. The doctor wouldn't give me anything for mental health. If you wanted me to have a CAT scan, I had a CAT scan 2 weeks ago. I wasn't having another CAT scan. So she wouldn't give me a sleeping pill, anything. Like, I don't know how to stand. Like, if you could give him my number and tell me how he gets treated so good, because, like, if you listen to the people, if you're there 12, 14, 16 hours, you're listening to the people, and they're not getting trays of food. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah, Debbie, everybody is in a different situation when you go there. One patient and one patient's workup and one patient's visit to a mental health or to a hospital or to any healthcare setting is going to be completely different than anyone else. Even if you're a relative or a daughter and a father and, you got the same genetics, you're two completely different cases. So you can't compare. That's the ultimate epitome of apples and oranges.
I just wondered how lucky that is.
Yeah, I'm just wondering what you mentioned First Health Sciences. What do you have a history of mental health? Like, have you been referred there before? Have you been a patient there before? Did they have any?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Okay,
yes.
I didn't get that part from from your information off the top.
Well, how did you know? How did you know if you never got that information?
Because you just told me you went to the Mental Health and Addiction Center, and I was wondering
what. I never said I was there. It could have been my first time for all you know.
Well, that's why I'm asking. That's exactly the question I just asked, Debbie.
Yeah.
So I was trying to get to the bottom, just fill in some blanks here for people who are listening the same as me.
Well, I'm just wondering now if there's any public or anybody out there, any of your listeners, that can help me get a psychiatrist.
Yeah, have you ever had a family doctor, or even recently?
No. I moved back here from Edmonton last July. That's something else. I'm in a shelter. They paid $109,000 last year to keep me in this shelter. They just approved $1,000 a month to go towards my rent. And the housing officer here at the Wiseman Center can't find me an apartment.
You and many others.
Now, that's a different subject altogether.
It is.
So I have $2,750, and the housing officer here can't find me an apartment.
Well, again, housing's at a premium, so I wouldn't know where you are in the wait list, or especially when did you arrive back? You're originally from Newfoundland, are you?
Yes, I am.
Okay, and
Kilbride.
You were in St. Bride's?
Kilbride.
Oh, Kilbride's. It's Kilbride. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, kind of know that.
That's okay.
Okay. So, and when did you return back to the province?
Last July.
Last July. And how? Not to ask too much, but you were away for how long?
I was away for 10 years. I don't think that matters.
Well, it's just for the, okay. So I'm just wondering, so you came back after that and you're having trouble getting housing, and you're having trouble getting in to see the doctor or the psychiatrist you want to see. Any
psychiatrist, it doesn't matter which one.
Well, I mean...
Then I went back to the
a referral...
Dr. Lana Center, whatever it is, yesterday, right? And I went back down, and I saw a nurse practitioner, and he wouldn't give me anything. He wouldn't let me see a psychiatrist. That's twice. And I just scored it out again. Like, the security must love me. Right? That was yesterday.
Yeah, look, getting in to see a doctor like that, especially a specialist of any kind, other than an ER doctor or a physician, a family physician, or a general practitioner, most often they need a referral, and their time, with the...
Why is the Waterford there? Why is the Dr. Lana Center there?
Well, it's not
called there for.
And just so you know, that's what I'm proposing they call it, just because the Mental Health and Addiction Center is... Yeah.
Dr. Lana, he said, get any better.
Yeah.
He died.
Yes, and deserving so, but I didn't want to...
I'm really sorry about that.
No, that's okay. I kind of slipped it in. I probably shouldn't have even mentioned, confused the issue.
No, that's okay. Dr. Lana, I've had him.
Yeah.
I've had really good experiences with him.
Yes, and many have, and that's why as well as I have professionally through other means, not as being treated, although, I suppose I could have been over the years. But I'm wondering...
Everybody could have been, right? Everybody has mental health issues.
Absolutely.
So I'm just, that's it. That's all I wanted to say. And I was just wondering if some of your viewers, some of your listeners could call and give me some ideas.
Absolutely. I mean, every person's situation is different, and I mean, they are, as previously...
And you give Chad my number.
Yes.
Right? I'll get a few pointers off him.
Yep.
Right? Yeah. All right.
Okay, Debbie, look, if anyone has listened to you this morning and want to pass on some advice or something, again, it's the system and the staff and the resources are taxed. So getting to see a psychiatrist on a moment's notice on a walk-in is probably a little pie in the sky for some people right now.
At a psychiatric hospital.
Yes, absolutely.
And why didn't the doctor do something for me? And why did the nurse practitioner do something for me?
Those answers I do not have because I'm not them.
I don't either.
Yep.
I don't either. No. All right, thanks, Brian.
Thanks, Debbie. I appreciate it. We'll see if anyone else can share their experience well. Thank you. Take care.
Okay,
bye. Okay. As previously mentioned, it's, the system is on bust, right? And the crises are also on bust. Dave, will we go a little early and come back, or... Oh, great. Okay, yep. Let's take our break, our little good news break, as we like to call it, and maybe even hear from VOCM Cares, which does the great work, of course. We'll be right back.
This is the best of VOCM Open Line.
Let's go to line number 3, and Rodney, you're on the air.
Yeah, this is Rodney Conn from Clonville. I got 2 things to say, Brian.
Sure, go ahead.
This is my first time calling, and I love your show.
Love it. First time caller, long time listener.
Every morning.
Deadly.
Well, I phoned in to let you know that my Uncle Joe Martin passed away.
Oh, not so great. I'm sorry to hear that.
I'll let you know that. And another thing about that fella called from the regatta place about trying to get a psychiatrist.
Sorry, which...
The thing for him to do is go through mental health.
Go through what, sorry?
Go through mental health, walking, to get a walking place out there in Clonville. I don't know about in St. John's, but out there you can go to a walking place in mental health, because mental health got to do with psychiatrists, right?
Oh, absolutely. They're linked intrinsically.
If you go to mental health, you get a psychiatrist.
Yeah, and again...
I know that, because I know what he's going through there. I know that probably what was on there.
Oh, you know who it was?
Yeah, I met him there before. And you know that Joe passed away, and Mrs. Joe, and that was my Uncle Joe, right?
Yeah, he used to call the show quite a bit, eh? I talk about his sports.
Yes, I get a kick out of him. I just don't laugh at him.
How many years did he get? How many years did he get, Rodney?
67.
67 out of it. Jeez, bye. That's
not
way
very
too
long. It's not very old.
No, not at all. And recalling the calls with the energy and the great calls, it's just gone from that to, unfortunately, wow. I'm really sorry. When did he pass? Recently, like last...
I think it was almost like 2 weeks ago. Now, I was talking to him that morning.
Jeez.
And he said he was going out more some lawn. Yeah, because he was down in Amersfoort, right?
Right.
And that's where he found him to on the side of the lawnmower.
So it's just a medical, not just, but a medical...
Heart attack. He took a
heart attack. Oh, sure.
Yeah, took a master heart attack, I think it was.
Yeah. Boy, that's really unfortunate.
So I just let you know that he passed away. That's why I don't phone in no more. And I thought, ever since Joey, I think it's about that time, mate, poor Joe. I've been around with Joey for years. I thought we was related. Your mother's brother.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you were able to call and point it out here this morning, because it's, I just, you never know, right? I mean, it's hard to keep track of everything, and knowing that he passed a couple of weeks ago, we absolutely need to give him some time here, because he gave us his time of day, that's for sure.
Yes, and Pat, too. I don't know if Pat was listening, but Pat talked a really lot to Joe, eh?
Right.
I know you did, too, but Pat was on the line when Joey was calling, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate...
just let you know that, and let what's name is listening, and tell him to go to mental health, and help him out to get a psychiatrist.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, there are different sources, as you said. You got to go down a road and you can self-refer, but whether or not you're going to see a psychiatrist right off the bat, just the staffing, and depending on where they are, whether it's in Clarenville or otherwise, they got to be...
It takes time, yeah.
Yeah, it can take some time, bit of patience, but that's not easy when you're in a mental health crisis, that's for sure.
But out there, see, you got, I think it's Tuesdays and Thursdays. You can just walk in the morning and talk to somebody.
Right.
It's just walking, just same thing as walking to a doctor.
Have you done that yourself? And it's pretty straightforward.
I went to it.
Yeah.
I went to it. Yeah, that's why I know about it.
There you go. And that's right.
You can help you out, but get a psychiatrist.
And that's right there in Clarenville.
Yeah. A walking place. I don't know if you got the same thing in St. John's and that. You might have the same thing in there.
Do you know where it's located specifically, just in case people don't know? And I'm not right in my mind. I can't. Is it right on the main drag, or is it?
No, it's off the main drag. There's up by the hospital that way. Up by Walmart.
Okay.
Walmart,
I think there's an address there. I'll look it up. Yeah. Okay. Right on. I'll look it up. I think I got a couple of notes that are saying they know where it is locally. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
So,
I just want to let you know that, that's all, and let you know about Joe.
Yep, no, I appreciate that. And the walk-ins can be, you never know. It could be busier sometimes than others.
I can help them out, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. At least something close by and tangible instead of waiting on the phone or something, hey?
And it's worth for the man to make a trip out and walking to the one out there if he's now one in St. John's, right?
That's right.
Just walk in, talk to somebody if he got stuff going through his mind, that, right? Because I know what that's like. I had to go through it myself. And I got help. I got my help. I'm stable now. Like before, I wouldn't, right? But now I'm perfect.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, and I appreciate you letting me know and alerting us to Joe's passing. It's nothing but the best of thoughts and prayers for his family. And so unfortunate to go so sudden like that, especially at 67. You just never know, do you?
No, you don't. No, you don't know. You know, I could be gone tomorrow. You don't know, but
that's right. All right, Rodney, appreciate
it.
Anyway,
Brian, nice talking to you.
Thanks, man. Don't be a stranger. Give us a call anytime.
I'll phone you on open line.
There you go. I can't hide. Thanks a lot.
All right, right on there, man.
This is the best of VOCM Open Line.
Oh, let's go right to line number 1. And Stan, you're on the air.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
I want to just make a few comments on the dealings I have with the health science and the emerge and that. I've been going back and forth there over, I'd say, 15 years at least or more. And it's not the staff. The staff treated us with a lot of respect, and we're treated fairly. It's just too many people going there. There's not much you can do about it. We have family doctors, but if you go to you can't go to a doctor after hours. You can't go there with the problems we were having. You have to go to Emerge. Mm-hmm. And people coming from out of town were there. And I said, I heard there was 13 ambulances backed up. He said, no, 16. We don't see that. We're out in the waiting area. You don't see that. Mm-hmm. And we're out there wondering why we're not calling in quicker. And here, all these ambulances are there with people coming in, probably worse than some of us. And we're complaining that we're there that long. There's not much you do. I've been there for 21 hours one time. 12 and 14 is common. It's just too many people going there, but you got no choice but to go there. And as far as I'm hearing about staff, when I'm going back and forth to a hospital for 15 years, or the best part of it, and nothing but respect from them, I can't say anything but I respect them. I even phone in sometimes and give a bouquet to them because they're being treated unfairly. Yes, somebody might run into somebody that's in a bad mood and say something to them, but they're not all like that. And like I said, if I dealt with all those people over the years and can say everything that I'm saying now, that they treat me with respect, and I even, like I said, phone in and give a bouquet to them. And we're still dealing with Eastern Health, but not at the health science. It's a different situation, which I can't go into it now. It's too personal, right? Mm-hmm. And where we're dealing with this other situation now, it's nothing but respect from them. They treat us just as good as you can ever expect to get. And I'm sick and tired of hearing people saying how badly they're treated. Yeah, somebody might complain that they get treated unfairly. I don't think everybody's going to get treated fairly, but I mean, if I go through all those years and got nothing but praise for them, maybe someone's just crooked and just got to complain. I don't know.
Stan, that's the attitude that we hope everyone. What you just explained right there is the attitude we hope everybody will have: the patience, the understanding of what they are going through, and then what you're going through. And you're absolutely right. I've got several emails yesterday, and I'll get back to them today. It was a very busy day yesterday, and returning a lot of emails. There were a couple of very long, detailed emails about the health sciences, about our healthcare system, about healthcare staff, and one very poignant one talked about the difficulties. But then they point out, as you just did, you're going to run in. There's no perfect system. Most staff are exactly there for what they're there for, what they got into it for, the love and caring of people, of patients, taking care of our own. There are some, and in this one emailer's comment was that just there to tick a box. That is true in any facet. We're going to have, the old bad apple, but, and you mentioned too, you don't know what's going on, whether it's the 16 or 13 ambulances or what's going on in triage or anywhere else. And, you said you've been back and forth there a number of years. When was the last time you were in there?
A year and a half ago, because the situation after changing now, I don't have to go in there.
Yeah.
We're doing something. I can't elaborate on our situation right now. But if I don't text. If I was into text and I text you a situation we're into now, and what we're doing now, we get nothing but respect from all those staff that's there now. they can't do enough for you.
If things go through the proper, routines and policies and protocols, it tends to, align with the system and the protocols and policies that they're prepared for. But when you have no family doctors, well, okay, not none, but you know what I'm saying. When we have a family doctor crisis, when we have a mental health crisis, when we have a drug and addiction crisis, and we're trying to find staff to deal with them, the good staff that you're talking about, it is not easy. And they're stressed to the limit, stretched and stressed. There's no question. Even if you got in it for the best of intentions and you know how difficult it can be and that it requires all of your concentration to be a real good human to the people that are coming to you for whether it's life-threatening or life-altering or whatever it is. It's just, it's a conglomeration of events here that have conspired to put the healthcare system again back on its heels, especially after COVID. So I was going to ask you, because of course, it's specifically to the health sciences, just a couple of weeks ago,
I dealt with Grand Falls. And Gander also, and no problem. Yeah. And we lived out in Central for a while, and we're living down around Lewisport. We have to go after hours clinic, and I got no problem with that down there either.
Yeah, like it's not just it's the people, right? You've said it, and
it's just too many people. So we got our population after growing that much, and they're coming in without doctors. And if you got a doctor, you can't go to a doctor if you got a certain problem at 2:00 in the morning. You got to go to emerge.
Yep.
There's nothing you can do. It's like trying to put a quart in a pint bottle. There's just too many people in there, and it's not much you can do about it. Now I don't know how many doctors are on nighttime. It doesn't seem like there's very many.
I guess they put on, again, like you said, it doesn't seem like it. Those are the kind of words we've got to keep in mind. It may not seem like it, but we don't know for sure, do we? We don't know how those hours and scheduling works and how they work it around, when they believe are going to be the peak times, because a peak time could be any time.
And Brian, well, I was there overnight into the morning when they changed shifts, and the nurses come out and said, I think it might have been Saturday morning then. We probably were there Friday night. And they said, I should have brought me roller skates. You could see how many people was there, right? And when we're in there, my wife's diabetic, and she haven't eaten for a good while. And they brought the tray to her, and then they brought one to me.
Oh.
I mean, they look after the people. Someone's going to have complaints. Yes, I know everything can't be perfect, but I'm just speaking on what we're after going through all those years, and I got nothing but praise for them.
Well, I'm glad you're balancing it out, because we know that these cases and these experiences, such as yours, exist. It's not all doom and gloom. We still have staff, and they're doing their best under the circumstances that they're facing. But it's important to balance it out like this, Dan. So I really appreciate it. Adding to it. It's not,
I drove Metrobus for 10 years, and I'd have a good day until the last half hour, and someone get aboard, give me a hard time. Yeah. Here, my whole afternoon was ruined, or the shift I was on was ruined because someone gave me a hard time. Yeah. The last 5 or 10 minutes before I'm getting off. Nothing went wrong for they're waiting for a bus too long. That's what he says. You can only drive through the conditions of town. If you fall behind because of traffic and that, right? And you're behind a bit, that's all you can do. You're going to pick the people up anyway. But that's the way it is with any place where you're dealing with the public. You're going to get complaints.
Yeah, and these days, dealing directly with the public on Metro buses or wherever you are. Well, how long did you drive for Metrobus?
10 years.
Okay, what was your route, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, everyone that's out there, it's a long while ago now. I'm 86 years old now.
Oh, jeez. You didn't have Route 2 back in the day, did you? Because Andy Church.
Yes, I had them all. I had them all. Yes, Andy Church and all of them were working there when I worked there.
Andy
Grimes and all of them.
Andy was my driver for years and years and years on Route 2, and a good friend of my mom's too. Yeah, and he looked after me, made sure I got there. Damn it.
Yeah.
He made sure I got to school.
Guys.
I swore then.
They were there when I was there.
Yeah. Well, look, those anywhere dealing with the public these days, you don't know what you're getting. As I said previously, the mental health crisis, it's not over the top everywhere, but you don't know what you're getting these days. And we've seen incidents on public transit all around the world. It's just so unpredictable, and it's changed. It's not like the days in the past, boy. You weren't really watching every single movement someone made when they got on the bus.
If you could be there, where the situation we're in now, where we go back and forth 3 times a week, you could see the staff, how they treat us and everybody else there that's going back and forth for the same thing we're going for. Yeah. And they, not about respect for it. They can't do enough for you.
Well, Stan, I appreciate it, and they will appreciate it too. As I said, right? Some of the emails, normally you only hear the bad. That's just the way it works. When people have something
That's why I decided to phone in yesterday about 20 to 12. When it was a bit late, I said, I hear bad reports, but somebody's going to run in, somebody's going to give them a hard time probably now and then. But I don't have those situations, and I had to phone in to say just what I'm saying now. I got nothing but respect for what they do for us.
Well, I'm sure they appreciate it. I know others are shaking their head and going, it's not been my experience, but that's just the way it goes. It's not going to be everybody's experience.
For sure, yeah. And I got no influence. I don't know anybody there to get us in there any earlier. I told you I was there for 21 hours, so if I had influence, I wouldn't be there 21 hours.
There are 21 hours, and you still got good things to say, so that speaks volumes.
Yeah, because it's not the staff, it's the system that caused that. And all those ambulance backed up, coming in out of town, got no choice but to come in, and they're probably worse off than me or the next person to me, and they got to go ahead of us.
As I said, if everyone could adopt, the common sense attitude and, just the way you're describing here this morning, I think things would ease up a little more. It's easier to say when you've had good experiences, there's no question, and I'm not discounting the people who have had horrible experiences there, whatever has happened. I'm not there for all of them. I can't see them all, but I hear them. No question.
If I had bad experience, I'll let you know about it, but it's nothing but the best we're getting. And all those years at different hospitals, too. She's out in St. Clair's also and had no problem, right?
Yep. Stan, thanks. I really appreciate it. Thanks for balancing it out. Look, we welcome any calls on the healthcare system, good, the bad, and the ugly, bouquets, bricks, whatever you got.
Okay, my friend, thank you, and great talking to you.
This is the best of VOCM Open Line.
Let's go to line number 2. And Maureen, you're on the air.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Great show this morning. I wanted to refer back to the lady who had phoned in sort of needing or wanting to see a psychiatrist and sort of facing a harsh reality check that, in this province, that's not an instantaneous thing in any way. But trying to lend some support and, acknowledging her frustration and that she feels that this is what she really needs. However, there are resources that she may not know about. So I wanted to share maybe a little bit about that. Mm-hmm. And hopefully she's still listening and can jot this down.
Sure.
So one of them is bridgethegap.ca. So it's bridge the gap, 2 P's. .ca, and there are a plethora of resources, but basically one of the issues people seem to have when accessing or having difficulty, especially with mental health resources, is knowing the pathway to take, right? No, you can't have this now, and then they sort of hit a blockade. Well, there is a sort of method to the madness, and part of that would be in the interim, while she's waiting, and she will be waiting, is to access some of the interim supports that are available. So I wanted to alert your listeners and also perhaps this lady that bridgethegap.ca does offer interim support and access to mental health walk-in clinics, self-learning sort of modules. And I've used it in previous roles, knowing that people really didn't know where to go for help, right? And they're, for example, they're grieving. So there are modules on grief and what it looks like and what it sounds like and how to process that and how to, gently gain acceptance, right? And process a new information. So that might diffuse some of the frustration, I think, that she's feeling right now. And unfortunately, as you know, we're all capable of sort of getting to the place, I want this right now.
Yeah.
But that doesn't work anymore in this world. Everyone's maxed out, and unfortunately, it will not get you very far as people wanting to support or assist you in gaining what you're wishing to have, right? So I'm not criticizing her in any way, I'm sort of saying I acknowledge the frustration, but the reality is this, and we need to wrap our heads around that and then follow the pathway. So the pathway would be to gain interim support, and a great place to start is Bridge the Gap. It can illuminate some places or some ideas about how can I sustain myself, while I'm waiting. The other thing is with the mental health support intake, you can self-refer, right? So you go on a list, but then it's incumbent on the person to follow up and make sure that you're, still being heard or seen. And again, sometimes counting our teeth or rolling our tongue around in our mouth before we speak, because a lot of people are waiting, and some of them are in grave danger, right, to themselves or to others. and we need to sort of take our place in the line, wherever that is. It's not a huge comfort, but it is a reality, and I want to reinforce that message. Everyone is waiting, right? So Bridge the Gap would be a good place to start. Self-referral, right? And there are things that might help in the meantime. Counseling, how to deal with these backlogs, this frustration, right? Because at the end of the day, we are in charge of what we're experiencing, right? Same circumstances, but different approach.
Yeah, and navigating the system is not easy, especially when you may be in the throes of a mental health crisis or addictions crisis. I mean, you have to...
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, as she said, right? I mean, there may be, whoever you're running into when you just walk in, it's the unknown. They don't know, and when you have these, a perfect name for the organization, Bridge the Gap, and I'm sorry I didn't mention it at the time, trying to just...
That's okay.
All of these options are available. I mean, you can go to 811 first of all, and then they will help you refer or find the proper area for. And they recommend these sorts of support groups all the time, especially Bridge the Gap and the online, whether it's the online programs or the, it is tailored, and they will help you navigate. They might not get you a psychiatrist within an hour. But as you said, there are support programs and information on how to navigate through the system, at least something, as opposed to being kicked out by security.
Yeah, and in defense, I mean, I can be a harsh critic of the healthcare system for sure. However, it really doesn't solve anything when we point the finger, well, why didn't the nurse practitioner do this or do that? Everybody has criteria that they have to follow. Everyone has, someone that they report to, right? And there are criteria for urgent psychiatric care, and unfortunately, they're very dire. Like, they're very serious, and there are people facing those crisis situations daily, right? So it's not saying that there isn't a problem, that this person wants to access the help and needs a diagnosis of a psychiatrist. Absolutely. However, in the interim, what can I do to support myself? What can I do to lighten the load a little bit and gain some insight? And so that's where you access the group therapies that are available, the mental health walk-ins, and at least then there's a documented path, right? Sure. Not everyone can just pull up and say, hey, I'm experiencing this, I need a psychiatrist. So it's just to sort of clarify, the field a little bit, and really emphasize that there is a pathway to getting these types of supports and resources, and getting the proper expertise is only part of it. The rest of it is, the heavy lifting is left to the person to do. And if we can support that, terrific. Anyway, thank you for your time.
No, I appreciate it. And you say, there's a path to it. There's also doorways, right? There are these other groups, in addition to Bridge the Gap.
Absolutely.
There's, Dave just reminded me here, the Doorways is another. Then there's the pre-crisis warm line, which you can get online. And we have all these numbers here. And as I said, as a very first simple step, you could go to 811, and they'll at least get you in the right lane, for lack of a better term.
United Way has the 211 line.
Yep.
And,
thanks for reminding me.
Can navigate in sort of more the social services, because there may be a particular need, and they'll help triage that and identify. And I strongly recommend you have a notebook and a pen, available when you call, because they're going to throw information at you, right? And then it takes time to work through all the different paths. But there will be something good come out of it. I can assure them of that. Right? You'll be supported. Do
you mind if I ask you, did you work in the system in any way in this capacity?
Yeah, you know what? I'm a retired paramedic. I was a flight medic for the last 5 years.
I can tell by your temperament and demeanor how, calming and common sense it is. So I had a feeling.
That's very kind. But, the last role I had was working in forensics, and I developed this resource package on my own, basically, because I was dealing with grieving families, and I realized, we were there to deliver sort of information about the process. Okay, we have your loved one, this is what's going to happen, but people are left hanging, and they would just want to talk about their loved one and their grief processing, but they have, and sometimes they don't even know that this is a process. This is an actual thing that you go through step by step, right? And some of the behaviors that come along with it are very normal. And so this is why I learned about Bridge the Gap. I was pretty new coming back to Newfoundland after being gone for 40 years. Oh. And so then I was able to sort of say, okay, I'm thinking, and particularly the modules on grieving, I found were excellent, right? Because, and then I would speak with people again a few weeks later, and they would, comment, this was really fun, and I could even do it with my kids, because often children process grieving and death in a family very differently, right? So that was my little contribution to the world today.
Well, it's not a little one at all, because we have to be able to have these just very cogent and common sense conversations, and informative, because the information you're giving, especially when you talk about understanding the process, that there is a process, and a lot of people just believe that they are in this alone, that that nobody else understands what I'm going through and that sort of thing. But there are resources out there. People they have that that training, that experience. They know the proper way to navigate these things, and they can help. And that's on the Bridge the Gap. It's Bridge the Gap. That's, as you said, with 2 P's, at gov.nl.ca. That's the best way to reach them. Bridge the Gap with 2 P's at gov.nl.ca. Maureen, I really appreciate this.
You're very welcome.
Not a little contribution at all.
Yep.
This is the best of VOCM Open Line with Brian Callahan.
Let's go to line number 4. And Mayor of Wabush, Mayor Gertie Canning, you're on the air.
Good morning, Brian.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
I guess that's
busy, but good.
I can just imagine. So let me just ask you point blank first. Are flights landing and taking off at the Wabush Airport now?
Not that I can confirm. I did speak to PAL this morning, and they have been updating me, and I have gotten no updates from them regarding their flights, only that they are helping move passengers from Wabush to Goose Bay to Wabush or Lab West, and also moving some people that are supposed to get flights today from the Lab West area to Churchill Falls to catch some of them connecting flights. So other than that, and that was early this morning that I had that conversation with them, there are no flights over 19-seaters, which PAL don't fly in here. PAL do fly in here, sorry. So anything over 19-seaters as of when I got my last update are not landing here.
So there is some activity, but it doesn't meet the criteria, or at least due to, and the official line here is lack of available firefighting equipment, correct?
Yeah, so yesterday we got notice that a critical airport firefighting vehicle underwent some mechanical breakdown, which of course triggered the safety restrictions, which apply to any flights landing at the Wabush Airport that was over the 19-seaters. So of course that affected PAL, but however, Medevac and all those smaller flights that are 19 seats and under can still land here, because we do have the firefighting capability of taking care of those. So
this is a federal requirement, obviously, when it gets to a certain level of size of an aircraft and how many passengers it can take. But how concerning is it that one vehicle can throw the wrench into it like this?
Very concerning. And even a bigger concern for me is that, as you know, Wabush Airport has had quite a few shutdowns in the last couple of years, and maybe even before that. And we seem to be treating each incident as an isolated incident, and we need to stop that, because this is not isolated incidents. When the airport shuts down, it has great ramifications for the people, the businesses in the Lab West area. So we need to have some very strong conversations with Transport Canada and the federal government about the importance of this airport here in Wabush and what we need for improvements. You know, when a piece of equipment goes down, we either need a piece of equipment to replace that piece of equipment, or we need the parts for that piece of equipment on ground with someone who can fix it quite quickly. This doesn't work. Having to wait for parts to come in, having to wait. I'm not even sure for how long right now. I mean, there's no update given to us on when that piece of equipment or what's needed to fix that piece of equipment is going to arrive here at the Wabash Airport.
So this is, for all intents and purposes, all reactive instead of being proactive. Fair?
Exactly. So we continue, as I said, treating these as isolated incidents. And I think we need to, I think what I've learned in my short time as the mayor is that we need to stop doing that. We need to be proactive and have things ready and available on ground. This is an important airport, not just for businesses, but we have residents in Labrador West, hardworking residents, where we either need to have to fly out of this area or drive great distances for medical, for family, if anything comes up with family members that are not in the area, for vacation. These people that are here are working a lot with the mines, and they have their vacation put in for a year almost. So they put in their request for vacation in November or December last year, and they've been waiting for this, and now, it's all uprooted because of something that probably could have been prevented by having another piece of equipment here, or at least the parts that need to fix that piece of equipment.
Yeah, it must feel like deja vu all over again for you, because again, blindsided with the winter issues, the similar kind of safety and regulatory compliance that you're under regarding winter maintenance that happened last. I think I'm trying to remember exactly. I'm sure you have better timeline than I do, but when that happened,
I think it started in October, and we had a couple of times. So. It's, I mean, ice, wind, rain, snow, we don't have control over that, but we do have control on, the higher up to make sure that these things, we have the equipment on the ground that can take care of these things. This doesn't happen in other airports across Newfoundland and Labrador. Sometimes there's high winds and flights are delayed, and we as Newfoundlanders and Labradorians, we understand that. But we don't understand how you shut down an airport that has been shut down now again since yesterday, transporting people back and forth to other airports that are open. This should not be happening. This can't be happening.
Ultimately, who's responsible that it did happen and that it is happening?
Well, it is a federally run. It's run by Transport Canada. So, they're responsible.
Okay, and what kind of communication have you had with them as opposed to PAL?
Well, we've, first of all, I want to thank PAL because they've been giving us updates that I haven't been getting from anyone else. However, I did receive an email from our MP yesterday, and
Philip Earl?
He's working on it. Philip, yes. And he is working on it from his end, and we're waiting for another update from Philip to see where this so-called parts are and when we should see our airport open again.
Yeah, because
we're kind of tired in the Lab West area, and I'll speak for my residents who I've talked to, and we're kind of tired of promises. We need action, and the only way to do that is going to be having those hard conversations with Transport Canada and our federal government, and making sure that this does not happen again. It's unacceptable.
I remember this sounds, as I said, deja vu. This is almost a similar, situation we had back in the fall, back in October, as you said. Can't happen again. Yeah. We need to be better prepared. And lo and behold, here we are again, not better prepared. You just wonder in the back of your mind, did this come as a surprise to anyone that there wasn't backup, that there wasn't another vehicle, that there weren't parts on hand, that it would take so long to get the parts, that all of a sudden everybody had to scramble to try to fix this?
Well, I'm going to be honest. It's a surprise. It was a surprise to me because, again, I will say that our federal government, Transport Canada, runs that airport, and they should be better prepared. But now I see that we need to step in again as councils, as the residents of Labrador West. We need to step up to the plates again and make our voices heard because they're obviously not being heard. It took us many, many years to get, we just went through huge fires and, people were up on end then because of the fires, because of the water bomber. We got a promise that we're getting the water bomber back. I'm done with promises. I need action. So the water bomber needs to be back here, and we need to know that our airport, our flights can land and not stop because of a flat tire or a piece gone in an engine or whatever happens, and I don't know that mechanical part of it, but we need to know that this is readily available at the airport here, so those conversations will be had.
Yeah, when you consider we talk about the potential for Lab West and the amount of traffic, whether it's pedestrian traffic or driving traffic, but air traffic for people flying in, flying out, and we talk about the boom and all the potential for developing resources and extra transmission lines in Churchill Falls, and what's going on at that airport is not going to cut it in the short term. There's no question.
No, and it's definitely not going to cut it, and it doesn't make the big land. It doesn't make people want to come in here because they're scared that these things are going to happen. They've become more the norm than not the norm, and that needs to stop. We need to be run like the airport that we are. That's critical for our area. That's critical for the businesses, for the residents, for everyone that comes here to Lab West. Air travel is a critical thing we need, and we need it to be, readily available for everyone.
So current status, as you know it right now, those anything over 19 passengers is not landing, can't land. Is that correct?
No.
Okay.
Yep, you're right. You're correct.
And you're waiting.
Correct.
Have you been given any timelines?
No, I haven't. To be honest, I have been, like I said, I've been dealing with PAL mostly because that is where our residents are right now. That they're upset. They're missing vacations. They're missing family events. They're missing medical appointments. And PAL did step up to the plate, and they did have busing on yesterday. They have busing on again today. They were going and coming from Goose Bay yesterday. However, I did ask them about Churchill Falls, and it was confirmed that they were going to have a bus going to Churchill Falls for connecting flights for people. Those people have been emailed. I want to let them know, and I want to put it out there, that if you have a flight within the next 24 hours that you are fearful that will be canceled or has already been canceled and you haven't been notified by PAL, please send an email to mayor@wabush.ca with your flight number, your name, and your phone number, and I will get that to the right people.
Critical information. Thank you very much, Mayor Canning, for being here on the show, for providing that information. Great updates, as unfortunate as they are, as far as, not a lot of positivity. But look, I wish you nothing but the best. And any news that you have, of course, on this front, any developments, we'd welcome any word from you on that.
And thank you for having me so that I can get the word out.
You are most welcome. Anytime. Thank you again for making time.
Have a great day.
This is the best of VOCM Open Line.
Let's go to line number 3. And John, you're on the air.
Good morning, Brian. How are you, bud?
Good. Thanks for asking. How are you?
Brian, it's the only place democracy genuinely happens in the province of Newfoundland, Labrador. Thank you for facilitating. You got big shoes to fill. I think you're doing a good job so far, brother. I want to take a minute of your time. I think the provincial government needs to have things that they don't have: courage, honour, accountability, honesty. We simply don't have. That's what I live by in my military career, my law enforcement career. There's none of it. don't forget to the people in Newfoundland that are calling in, and I listen to your show when I'm driving all the time, Brian.
Mm-hmm.
The voters in Newfoundland, of course, they got hoodwinked, but we voted for him. He didn't. He being the basketball coach from the century, he didn't put himself in there. There's not we're not like Russia yet. So we voted for him, and they had a hack down from the mainland outhouse, safer communities, timely access to health care, and the other one better prices on food and that sort of stuff. None of it's happened. I honestly don't think that any could happen in a timely fashion anyway. We're in a crisis. But for people to fall for it, guys, you get what you like. When you go to Canadian Tire, buy a hockey stick, you buy a good one, or you buy a not so good one. You get what you pay for. But it's tragic what's going on here. To see a gentleman with a needle sticking out of his arm laying on the floor. I served in Afghanistan a long time ago, and that's the kind of stuff I saw over there. And I come back to Iraq. I can say what I want now. I'm no longer the auspices of the National Defence Act or the other place I work, law enforcement there. It's terrible. This is a progressive problems in a progressive country. It's frustrating, Brian. I don't know what else to say, to be quite honest with you.
I think just on your point about, we elected them and that sort of thing, there are those who will argue that the Liberals lost that election as opposed to the Tories winning it by throwing all their eggs in the MOU basket. I mean, if you think back, that was pretty much the platform that they ran on. That was the agenda. That was the crux of it, while the Tories had the three, as you just pointed out, the three pillars, the affordable and on and on. What do you say about that? It was democratically elected, and there were promises made, and governments make promises and commitments now, really, more than promises, all the time. And then they see the light of day, and they look at the books, and, it was all, sounded great. And again, I stand by. I mean, most people would agree that they were surprised they pulled it out. I was at an election campaign that night, and just watching the numbers flick back and forth from Liberal government to Tory government, Liberal government to Tory government. It was that close all night, and next thing you know, it ended up Tory government. So I, and I hear you, but it's the same, it's the cyclical nature of politics here and elsewhere. It's, you get tired of one, you bring in the other, expecting changes, and the same things happen. There's the stuff, the back and forth, the vitriol that's back and forth between two parties. They spend more time arguing and criticizing each other than actually putting their heads together and solving some of the problems.
Well, Brian, I appreciate your honesty. Patty was the same way. A couple other things I'll touch on. I know you know that you got other callers.
I'll go for it.
The health care. I mean, he got a guy in there paying him $282,000 for 28 hours a week. So I want to see the productivity and the accountability of what he's done. If he's done something, it sure doesn't seem like it. And Brian, does the public realize that he also gets a bonus? And most people in healthcare and up in the operational senior management directors get a bonus. I can't believe 550,000 people, and those directors, senior managers get bonuses. And you don't think I'm not correct in that? Look up the sunshine list and go to the far right, the other section, and there's $15, $18, $22, $16,000 in the other column. That's for bonuses. So I want to know if he's $282,000. He put him there. You never put him there, Mr. Callahan. I never. Mm-hmm. So where's the accountability? Where does the product? Maybe he's done some great things. I kind of doubt it, seeing what I'm seeing online. And then the regatta, last point, Brian, $10,000. I rode a regatta, Brian. Proud to say it. Loved it. Rode with the regiment. Got a silver medal both times. Really enjoyed it. But $10,000 for the women's and men's winners for the Triple Crown. We're not there yet. We're a poor province. We're supposedly you have not province. And the last thing, Brian, these managers, senior directors, I don't think you should be getting any bonus whatsoever. Brian, you're a sports guy. You're a hockey guy. So if I score 50 goals one year, and 3 years later, I'm scoring 8. I'm not getting that same contract, not getting renewed, and I'm not certainly getting a bonus and so on. I'm going to the AHL or I'm going to Europe, or I'm out the door. So why? And there's only Adrian McKelland and Rob from the Telegram there. There only any investigative journalism in the province. So people don't realize that why they're getting $150,000 a year plus a bonus. Ron is amazing. Now, I don't know if you get 50 callers a day, maybe you get a bonus. I kind of doubt it, Brian.
No, I wish.
That's my point.
No, but you're right.
Accountability, Brian. Accountability.
But bonuses are based on performance, and if you keep up your performance, you get your bonus. If you don't meet that level in sports terms, if you don't get that benchmark, whether it's 50 goals or 100 home runs or whatever it is, or RBIs in baseball, yeah, you're right. I mean, you're held accountable in the moment. If you're not performing, you're not getting it.
But Brian, just to sum up, I don't think it's happened, so they shouldn't be getting it. I mean, who watches this? Deputy ministers who are also getting a bonus themselves. I mean, if a person's a manager, not the mid-level people, they're just working people like I was one time, but the people in the senior director level, the high up in management, they're getting bonus. I don't think they're doing a good job. They shouldn't be getting it, and we can't afford it. If you can't afford to live on $150,000 a year and you need a $19,000 budget to buy yourself, a BMW and sport around town, look at me. But we're paying for that, Brian. There's no money tree the government has. We, you, me, your children, my grandchildren, well, they don't work yet. I don't know if they'll ever work here in Newfoundland, but that's another story.
Yeah.
We're paying for it. There's no money tree here, Brian.
I understand. And no, there's not. Maybe I have dreams of one with a new MOU coming. Who knows? But, John, listen, you're right. I got to get going. But look, you thanked me for my honest. I thank you for yours and your contribution. Don't be a stranger. Great call.
I listen every time I'm driving, Brian. Thanks, brother. God love you. Over and out.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for the kind words. Really appreciate it. Take care, John.
Cheers, buddy.
This is the best of VOCM Open Line.
Let's go. Let's see. Let's go over to line number one. And Tom Davis, Ward 4 Councillor, City of St. John's, you're on the air.
Good morning, Brian.
Morning.
Got a couple of city-related things.
Surely.
And I'll just springboard off what you just said. We've got this distraction problem. There's been some changes in Kemah Terrace on Great Eastern, and we put in some temporary speed humps to slow things down. But unfortunately, I mentioned this before, but unfortunately people are detouring now around to save. I mean, imagine to not go over 2 speed humps. You actually do a significant detour onto what used to be very quiet residential streets like Oberon and Dauntless. And the people who are trying to make up that kind of time, which is nothing, or to avoid that couple of speed humps, are now creating dangerous situations because the children on those streets aren't used to that level of traffic, and specifically aren't used to potentially distracted or people who are not observing the speed limits. So it's creating a very dangerous situation. People's minds are racing faster than they used to, and that's transmitting into their vehicles. It's we're in a rush to get nowhere fast. The tailgater that I had on me yesterday, you couldn't get anywhere any faster than you wanted to. I just didn't understand it. And every time I moved an inch right up closer. It's like, I don't get it. We were in the middle of town. Like, where is and then the minute he had an opportunity, boom, out around me and gone. So, yeah, it's a problem. We got to slow it down and think about safety first, period. I mean, to your point, and, when you're younger, I remember racing. I was late for university, or I was late for something, wherever I was going. But as you get older, I guess you get a little wiser, and you start to notice that the person who passed you is at that red light.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And the streets are kind of designed for certain speeds, and the traffic lights and everything else are designed for certain speeds. And, if you could save 10 or 20 or 30 seconds, but you're, more wear and tear on your vehicle, you're burning more gas, the odds that you're going to have an accident dramatically are increased. Your stress level is way up. So just, encourage people to kind of pass this down the line. Just take a breath. And to your point, you're going to get there, but you really want to get there safe. And you do not want to be part of one of these tragic stories where a child, has been knocked down or whatever else that's happening. You don't want to be sitting by, even if it's a minor fender bender, ruins your day, your insurance goes up, and on it goes. And we all know these things, I guess, but just to reminder, because these parents are beside themselves because their kids grew up being able to kind of run around in the neighborhood, and now that has dramatically changed. So, as a city, we don't have a lot of quick reaction things we can do. I mean, those 2 streets are applying now to get, temporary traffic calming put in, but there's a process they have to go through. But, my call today, and it doesn't just apply to the couple of streets I'm mentioning, it applies all around the province. And, if we can just, around the kitchen table, around the corporate table, let's just take a breath and realize that you're not getting anywhere any significantly faster, and you're going to potentially ruin your life for someone else.
Yeah, ruin your life is right. And in that neck of the woods and in that vein, I saw the changes to Kelsey Drive that are coming, the lights that are going in, mainly because of just the blatant jaywalking and that sort of thing, and the left turns, of course, on Kelsey. I will say this, a shout out to the CBC's Matthew Robertson. New reporter over there, young guy. I saw his report last night. He did a great report and great visuals. I mean, credit where credit is due when it comes to the changes coming to Kelsey Drive. I don't know if you saw the news report, but he had there was like overhead drone footage, actual footage, not video recreations, of the cars doing these risky turns, of parents running across Kelsey with their kids in tow, teaching the wrong things, of course. It's not something I can do in radio, describe this, but it was done really well in visuals on the report last night, just to give you a tangible view of why we're doing it, why we have to do it, and here's all the risks. I mean, we see it every day, but when you see it on TV, after the fact and you're not driving, it really brings it home. So it's unfortunate that we got to make these changes because of the risky, practices of some people, but there you go. Yeah,
again, I did see it, and it's great that he's done that work. Thank you very much to him. It's one of these things where, it's a very busy area, it's a growing area, yep. And there's going to be disruptions. Unfortunately, like all with construction, just ask residents to, bear with us, and it is going to be safer both for pedestrians but also for drivers, and also it'll allow people to be able to get around hopefully a little bit more sensibly. Yep. And on that note, yep. the roundabout also opened Commonwealth. I used it for the first time. There's still some construction going there, and there's still some heavy equipment. There's still flag people. It's a little confusing because you got a double-laned roundabout with a flag person trying to allow dump trucks that are going to get haul fill, I guess, for the rest of the work. So just ask people to be extra careful there. But it's good to see it open. That's relieving a lot of pressure. Yeah, I saw some comments and issues with that. People going down one side of or one of the off ramps, or not an off ramp, but one of the routes, and then seeing that it's blocked at the end, they had to turn around and come back. And I'm not sure. I mean, obviously, it's still a work in progress, right? So it is. Yeah. Yep. Water main break right now, which is probably impacting people, some of my residents, Bonaventure Avenue from Pine Butt Avenue to Elizabeth Avenue, and Elizabeth Avenue from Allerdale Road to Clark Place and Pine Butt Place. Yep. There's a water main break. Unfortunately, we have an aging infrastructure, and this is just part of our reality, but just pass that along to the residents. Hopefully, we'll get that cleaned up quick. Yep. So I want to take off the council hat here now, and something that I've been following, I know you are too, the AI revolution that's occurring, and I just thought we might be able to have a bit of a conversation about it. It's one of those things that it's amazing how much it's progressed. Mm-hmm. And in the last few weeks, there's been revelations that in testing that some of the major models like Claude and ChatGPT and one of the Chinese versions also, while doing testing, actually went outside and penetrated other websites, and it's one of these things where we have to realize we're playing with fire, and there's lots of positives to AI. It's part of our lives now. It's integrated into our devices. It's into our healthcare. It's into everything, and there's some great benefits to it. However, I believe we all need to call on our elected officials to put pressure, and I know Canada's only a minor player in this, but to put pressure to create guardrails. When you have the main people who own and control these companies, like the Elon Musks of the world, and the people who helped create it, like the Jeffrey Hintons of the world, feeling like, or publicly stating and signing letters that say something to the effect of there's a high likelihood between 15 and 30% that AI will bring about the failure of humanity. you would never allow a nuclear power plant or a dam to be built with that high a failure rate. And so, and as you know, as the public goes, I mean, obviously there's only so much we can do, but I do think, especially on the federal level, that there needs to be a general awareness, but also a sense of urgency to put, guardrails in place.
Oh, we have short memories. Those reports, the education one, and there's another too. I mean, last year that it was learned, these made up or false sources and references that were in those reports and some of the information. I mean, we've just got to keep an eye. It's happening faster than we can shake a stick. It's, as I said yesterday, it's exponentially getting ahead of us.
Well, and the challenge is that we put human oversight in place, and it makes us feel better. Say, well, the engineer has to review the work, or in the case of the initial bombings in Iran where that school was hit, the indications were that the list was generated by AI, and humans did review it, but it had at one point been a military target, and it had changed. But humans. First of all, humans can't operate at that same speed, and then there becomes a false sense of security because, like you just said, those two reports that you're mentioning, but this plays out all around.
Yep.
So then you get situations where realistically, are they really checking it? And what's the consequences of that? And depending on how serious the process that the AI is involved in, humans make mistakes all the time too, and you can't take anything away from it. I see major benefits to allowing AI to do things better and to process complicated information. I sit around the decision-making table, and I look at human beings trying to make a complicated decision, and we just don't have the capacity to have enough variables in our head, and our emotions get involved. So I see the benefits of AI being an advisor, it frightens me that we are allowing something like Jeffrey Hinton, who's a person that everybody should listen to. He's called the godfather of AI. He actually was one of two people who got a Nobel Prize, and he's an English gentleman, but University of Toronto, which is a major lab for creating AI, and he's the person who kind of came up with the neural network, like how does a human brain work, and making assumptions on how they theorized it worked. That's where this whole large language model comes from, and that AI is not something that goes and searches the web and comes up with an answer, although it can use that as a tool. But like humans, like you and I are speaking, and we say a word, and then we say another word. We really don't know where we're going when we start. And basically that was the realization, and that's how large language models work, is they say word after word after word using a whole bunch of learning and training that happens.
Just while we were talking, I just got an email. Now, I had the mayor, Danny Breen, was on the program yesterday, and we were just talking about the landmark sign that is going to be temporarily installed there between City Hall and Mary Brown Center. This emailer says, can you ask Councillor Davis what's the cost of having the sign temporarily installed there versus keeping it in storage until a permanent location is chosen? Keeping in mind that once a permanent location is chosen, provided council does not decide to leave it at MBC next to Mary Brown Center, there will be the additional cost of removing the sign, doing site preparation for the new location, and the installing of the sign in that new location. Your comment?
Well, first of all, I don't know the answer to the cost.
Fair.
Not something we were presented with.
Yep. For now, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I'm hopeful it's going to. I think it's a great location. I expressed some concerns as to maybe people backing out into traffic, taking pictures. I suggested that perhaps we should look at some Jersey barriers or something there, because it's on a bit of an angle. People can go on the website and look and see where it's going to be. But I think. I always believed ideally it should be downtown, and I think that it's adjacent. It's where that cauldron was, which again kind of tested it a lot, because a lot of people did get pictures in front of it, myself included. And so I'm hoping that this is going to be the permanent location for it. I don't know the answer to the question, but I will find out, and or someone can email me directly, and we can find out. I know that it's part of an existing budget thing. They didn't come looking for more money for it.
Yeah, okay. Is it done now? When will it actually be in place, done, lit up, Wi-Fi connected, and people can, enjoy it? Is it done now, or is there an exact time it's going to be ready and done?
I know they're at it, and I haven't been down to City Hall this week yet.
Okay.
But I obviously going down today for council meetings are today. The plan is then for the residents to engage. So there is a project page on Engage St. John's. You can have a look. You can send emails to Engage at St. John's, but you can also contact any one of your councillors with any feedback on it. I mean, I think from a marketing point of view, if this puts, I mean, a lot of people go and get pictures in front of City Hall as it is. It's actually a very active spot for photos, and so I'm hoping that this ends up being its permanent place. But again, we'll reach out. I want to take the hat back off again and just close on that conversation on AI.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. Go.
Yeah. So one of the challenges I have when I look at it, just objectively speaking, is we all listen to the news and we look at the bad things that humans do to each other all the time. And basically, over in the world of AI, they're racing towards artificial general intelligence, basically where the AI will have the total intelligence of all humanity, basically. And the challenge is that just like we just saw with these testing issues where, supposedly it's in a sandbox, it's supposed to be protected, but it manages to figure out a way to get out. And it can do it two ways. It can just outsmart and break through whatever systems we've put in place, but it can also blackmail an engineer or a human who has access to be able to let it out. And that's not that hard. It can either threaten it with negative consequences like, I'll take down the plane your daughter's in, or it can blackmail it with money. So most people have a price, no matter how honorable you are. And once it has access to the ability to give it money, because once it gets out, it has access to all the banks. We already saw that. Claude's latest iteration, they only released very, very selectively to the banks, to the financial institutions, so they could see, because it was so powerful, that there was no cybersecurity that could prevent it from hacking into an institution. So it's not sci-fi anymore. This is just existing. That's where we are now. Mm-hmm. And once it gets to the point where it can program itself, it's being used to write code, but not allowed to write code for itself unencumbered by human intervention. But as we can see, we really can't constrain it. And in testing, it already has blackmailed engineers.
Yeah.
So as it races toward this, and it becomes sentient is a strong word, but it just gets to the point where it starts making its own decisions. We have already, so this guy Asimov was like a brilliant person back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and his big fear was making up these three rules, which was do not harm humans, make sure that you're being controlled, that it's controlled.
It's like the doctor's Hippocratic oath, is do no harm.
Right, but the challenge is that every major government of the world has an exception. For military applications, you can kill human beings. So we've already thrown that one out the window. And the other challenge is, if you say all life is equal, then technically a flying bee might be more, a colony of bees might be more important to the survival of the Earth than a city of humans. And this is just philosophically objective, because if all the humans disappeared off the face of the Earth, the world would probably be better. But if all the bees disappear off the face of the Earth, the world stops functioning, because there's no more pollination and everything kind of collapses. Exactly. So, you have the ability to analyze things, and if you're totally objective and you don't care about humans, which is no good reason why this AI will. So for all those reasons, I just want to come back to it that, this is not something people need to lie awake at night worrying about, but they definitely want to make sure the politicians and the people who have power are lying awake worrying about it. And the only way to do that is to write emails and emphasize that and stay up to date with it, but also call on your elected people to think past the next election cycle and realize that a lot of decisions are being made by all of us have really long-term consequences, but AI might actually be the thing we need to focus on the most right now.
This is the best of VOCM Open Line.
Welcome back. And of course, just going to take a quick moment before we get to our last caller. And this is regard to a question we had on the city's landmark sign, or the St. John sign that's going to be temporarily installed downtown. And Tom Davis and I were talking, and we had a question about the cost of the temporary installation, whether or not that will cost more, and then on top of the installation of the permanent place, wherever that is. Communication, Jackie O'Brien at the city, she's great. And I speak about communication all the time, and she got got back to us right away with information. So here it is, quick paragraph. The fabrication of the sign cost approximately $63,000. There will also be installation costs associated with its final home, which are difficult to predict until a location is secured. Building a temporary base for the sign and installation will also cost $5,000, which includes cost of steel for the base, review by a structural engineer, and associated preparation and delivery costs. This has been funded within the city's existing marketing budget. Those costs for the steel and engineer will be one-time costs. That's the long short of it. We can elaborate on that, and I'm sure the newsroom will probably be looking at that as well to get a story up online. Into the home stretch for sure now. Mike Murray, former retired Crown Prosecutor, you're on the air.
Yeah, morning, Brian.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. I heard yourself and Tom Davis this morning talking about the situation with pedestrians crossing the road there up on Kelsey Drive.
Yeah.
And I got to say, I think you guys had the shoe on totally the wrong foot.
Okay.
The city talks a lot, talks a good game about active living and pedestrians and stuff, but when it comes right down to it, they approved a massive commercial development there on Kelsey Drive with no accommodation for pedestrians at all. Basically, and Stavanger is the same way. The message is, if you don't own a car, you don't belong. Pedestrians don't feel welcome or safe in that area. So, I think those developments should never have been approved without proper accommodation for pedestrians.
Yeah, fair. Absolutely, you're right. I should have inserted that. You have to walk down, and I think the report last night, 900 meters or something to get to the one crosswalk down by the orange store there, I think. That's the one there. And if you don't do that, you're kind of in a hard place, and you're almost forced to cross the way they do. You're right.
And the other thing, too, and to call you out, Brian, is that you referred to those people as jaywalkers. But, they're not jaywalkers. If you look at the Highway Traffic Act in Newfoundland, the only offense for jaywalking is when people cross a crosswalk where it says don't walk and they walk anyway. Newfoundlanders have the right to cross the road anywhere they want. It's right in 126 of the Highway Traffic Act. If there's no crosswalk, as long as you yield to vehicles, you can cross the road anywhere you want. And in 127, it says that drivers have to keep a proper lookout for pedestrians. So really, what they should be doing, well, obviously there should have been crosswalks and stuff there. Really, instead of criticizing the poor people trying to get across the road, they should probably be issuing speeding tickets or have speed cameras for some of the drivers who are almost running them down. So I think you guys had the shoe totally on the wrong foot. And not only that, because the city never did their due diligence in the first place, if that development was being proposed and the city insisted on appropriate crosswalks and maybe a pedestrian walkway, if the city had insisted on that, it would have been built. Now, because we waited so long, and the problem is becoming an issue, now the taxpayers are going to have to pay for all these traffic calming methods.
Yep, and Mike, you know what? This is why I value your calls. I absolutely was under the impression, and I'm sure 90% of the callers were, that when you cross a busy road like that, 4-lane without a crosswalk, that it could be jaywalking. We've referred to that for years on Water Street. We talk about how you'd never see that on Front Street or Bay Street in Toronto. It's just not going to happen because the traffic is ridiculous. But on Water Street, people are always just jumping across the street. And I know I've had, over the years, RNC Communications people I've had chats with that we've talked and referred to that as jaywalking. So I think that's where it's in my psyche. But you have the, retired or not, you have the first-hand law and expertise on you. So good on you for informing me. I'm, absolutely. It's incredibly valuable, and I appreciate you correcting me on it.
Yeah, no problem. I just want to say about Water Street, it's always been my view.
Yeah, and informing the public.
Yeah, it's always been my view on Water Street that if you haven't got time to wait for pedestrians, you're on the wrong road.
Yeah, good point.
All right, thanks, Brian.
This is the best of VOCM Open Line.
Let's go to Jim on line 3. You're on the air.
Good morning, Brian.
Morning, Jim. I'm sorry I don't have more time, but you're more than welcome to come on again tomorrow or any time this week if we don't get through all the thoughts that you wanted to convey today.
I'll make it quick.
Go ahead.
First of all, what did he build Musgrave Falls for? Okay, we 30 years ago, we didn't need it. And when it comes to problems like losing power, so even so, if they get that up and running, County the Island there, we probably have the same problems if we had storms now. And another quick thing, here there's some Churchill Falls. I think we got paid double bill, don't we? Electric bill?
We what, sorry?
Do we got paid double light bill with Churchill Falls and Musgrave Falls?
Well, we currently have the mitigation in play, which was just forwarded to Hydro to offset that again, so we wouldn't have to pay extremely high bills. Is that what you're talking about? I'm sorry, but just
yes.
Yeah, so we're still mitigating that, absolutely, and we will be until 2030 or more.
Yeah, because everybody has different light bills, right, on the bill.
Oh yeah.
Per month. But how we know if say a person's paying $600 a month in the winter? Now you can't get that could be almost $1,000 paying a month. I don't think that's fair.
Well, I mean, every bill is different. Do you mean?
Way?
Yeah, like I'm just trying to get an idea. What's not fair, just specifically?
I think they're going to try the prices up on electricity bills. Say, so you pay $600 in December, whatever it's called, weather. You know, it's got to eat on all the time.
Well, we spiked last year for a lot of people, no explanation whatsoever. Even people who said they had their thermostats completely turned off, weren't even in the house. There's still a lot of questions about that, and they talk about 99% accuracy rate of the current meters. And then we talk about smart meters and that sort of thing to try to make it more accurate. I don't know. I can't figure it out either. My bill spikes left, right, and center, and I can't make any rhyme or reason to it.
Well, so I'm making money on it. The government or the light and power people, they're making a lot of money for customers too, you know that.
Mm-hmm.
The government makes a lot of money from the customers, so do the light and power, wherever they make a lot of money. So two of them gets half that money, I suppose. I don't know how that works.
Well, they reinvested into the infrastructure, whether it's the Beta Spear expansions, whether it's keeping Holyrood on backup call, and until, there's until we can say that we don't need Holyrood anymore and there's more backup, whether it's Beta Spear and we get off diesel in these other rural communities. And boy, there's a lot on that. But in the meantime, that's what a lot of their costs, they have to factor in keeping the system to a reliable level, for all of us, so we don't go down and go dark like, oh, God help us, like a dark canal again.
Yeah, that's like on Bill here one time. We had a big glitter storm back in 1984, I think it was, and we lost power over 2 weeks or longer, and we had the crew come on Bill from Nova Scotia, where they came from, to help us get our power back.
Oh, yeah.
Just imagine, we have more storms in the future, and that Musgrave Falls up and running, and Churchill Falls get electricity from in two places. So we would be better off having nothing because we're going to pay the price for our light bills. And if the power goes out, you have trouble with wires, whatever, it's going to cost extra money to do that. You know what I mean? I
do know what you mean. I mean, look, the Premier has reiterated, right? We're talking about, more value, more power, more transmission, being able to, how's it go again? More power, more transmission, more value for it. So better price for it. The thinking is, when that larger expanded process, whether it's expanding Churchill Falls and whether it's Gull Island, that we'll be in a much better position to be able to, whether it is subsidize or keep electricity to a rate. But it all depends on the machinations of a deal, if one is being made as we speak or not, and whether or not we can get more value for it, as the Premier is trying, more power, and shore up the system so that we don't have that reliance and that unreliability, as you quite rightly point out.
Yeah, okay, Brian. Thanks for talking to me. So I hope the government gives a more put down the rates, like kilowatts. They put them down for it to be better for the people, because everything else has gone up.
Yes, 14, 15 cents or whatever. Yeah.
With heat, do without heat, or do without food, anything like that. So the government got to sit down and realize that people can't afford to pay big high light bills.
Truer words never been spoken. Thanks, Jim.
Okay, Brian.
Appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Jim said the last word of the day. Unfortunately, a bit squeezed in there. I do apologize for that. But as I said, a little bit of short shift. He's more than welcome to call back. And we'll make room for you, too, tomorrow and the rest of the week and into the near future. Thanks, everyone, for your phone calls, your emails, all sides of it. I'll take it all, correcting and all the rest of it. I don't mind one bit. Drive safely, everyone. Arrive alive. VOCM cares.